told you. Wake up, I gotta go get it. Wake up, I gotta.
They let us back for a second episode? They let us come back for a second episode, Stackz. We are here in the flesh. I'm Javaris Harris. Stackz, talk to me, my brother.
What's going on? I am Stackz. Back for this second episode. First episode was beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful feedback. Loving it. Glad we can come back and do this thing again. Continuously
Hey,
do it. I'm loving it.
listen, so much feedback, so much love. Cannot thank you guys enough for checking out that first episode. But listen, we got to come back better than the first one now. So listen, we got a slate of games from Saturday. Listen, it was a wild weekend of college football this past weekend.
Yeah. Definitely was.
Yeah,
Definitely was.
yeah. I mean, man, listen, we can start off with all the juicy details from it, but let's get into the slate of games that we got for you guys today. Let's start off with this Georgia Southern Wisconsin game. Georgia Southern travels to Madison, Wisconsin. This was a doozy. I mean, dude. Okay, first of all, the game wasn't it wasn't on your usual cable channels. You had to do some searching for it. So
Yeah.
luckily we were able to get to the nitty gritty and find it and check it out. First of all, let's talk about this slight detail. Georgia Southern's quarterback Davis Brin, 383 passing yards, one touchdown, five interceptions.
Yeah. It's one of
Five
those
inter-
up and down games. You have some of those sometimes, man. I mean, yeah, I would say he was taking a lot of risks.
yeah.
A lot of times it paid off for him. I was
Mhm.
seeing him throw it in some tight windows between two defenders. I mean, right on time. But with those passes, it's all about timing. If you're a millisecond off on some of them passes, it's the difference between a pick and six going your way. So, he took a lot of risks. But he also has a lot of talent out there.
Yeah.
Georgia Southern, and that rushing and passing attack was giving Wisconsin a run for the money. I thought they were gonna, blow it out the water early, but
Yeah, and it's funny you say that because at one point Georgia Southern was leading Wisconsin, and a
right,
lot of people thought that we were going to see the former team that beat Florida a few years back, and it was just like, oh my goodness, is this the Georgia Southern that's going to just start beating up on these Power Five schools again, like they were once upon a time almost, and of course it didn't play out that way. But dude, that slight glimpse really gave them, some optimism as far as like, okay, we might be able to beat Wisconsin, but hey, things don't work out that way. But on the other side of the ball, Wisconsin, their quarterback, 236 yards, no touchdowns, no interception. But this Wisconsin team used their legs a lot in this game. I mean, it was a bunch of rushing touchdowns. Uh, Braylon Allen, two touchdowns. Tanner Mordecai, their quarterback, a touchdown. And I'm sorry, two touchdowns. It was just legs everywhere.
right. They wore him out. I think at first, Georgia Southern kind of had them figured out at first, and then they couldn't get much going at first,
Yeah.
but then Wisconsin turned it on, and boy, did they turn it on. I mean, they were running through tackles, running through space. That line got to pushing, and it was a sight to see. It was a sight
Yeah,
to see.
sure.
They proved a little bit too much to handle for Georgia Southern on Saturday. So it was a good game. It was a good game. Definitely a game that had you sitting like, what's coming next?
Mhm.
What's coming next? So
Right, for sure.
it was definitely worth it. That Wisconsin's rushing attack is definitely lived up to the hype.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, I definitely think they figured something out with this game.
And I mean, the you got the Sun Belt, but we call it the Fun Belt. I mean, Georgia Southern will probably be tearing up on other teams as far as like Georgia State and Coastal Carolina later on in the year, Texas State. But man, you know what time it is. Let's head to Athens. Let's head to Athens, Georgia. Georgia and South Carolina. Listen, this game was a little shabby in the beginning, man.
Yeah, yeah. It
Yeah,
was definitely it it was definitely living up to the years past. I would say that because
Yeah.
South Carolina always, I don't know what it is, but they
Mhm.
always give Georgia their best.
Yeah.
Even if they lose, they give Georgia their best. But yeah, at the beginning, I mean, South Carolina's on the board first, and it's like, okay, you know, do what do we have here? What do we
Yeah.
have here? I guess now, whenever somebody scores on Georgia, whether it be first, second, or whatever, it's like, wow,
Mhm.
what's going on here? Like,
Mhm.
am I watching the right game? You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So, I mean, when they score that first touchdown, I'm like, okay, we got a game. We
Yeah.
got a game because I know Georgia's gonna respond. I mean, I know that. So it was definitely good. Spencer Rattler came out. He came out on fire. I think they schemed
Yeah.
up very well against Georgia. Kept Georgia guessing early.
Mhm.
That first touchdown was. I think it was like a quick route for the receiver, and then like a screen type of play.
Mhm.
Um, I like to call it an extended screen because he wasn't really behind the line, but
Yeah.
they just created a wall for him. I think that they was able to get their playmakers in space early. And that receiver ended up getting hurt, but
Mhm.
his name escapes me at the moment. But I definitely think South Carolina came out. They was up early. They had this game circled. It seemed like
Oh yeah, for sure.
early on it definitely felt like that. So
Yeah, yeah.
you know.
It's funny. It's funny you speak on Spencer Rattler's performance because if I'm not mistaken, he went a perfect 7 for 7 in that first drive before they got that first touchdown. And
Hmm.
man, he was on fire. I mean, 256, one touchdown. A few picks. But man, I think people need to. I think we need to start putting some respect on Spencer Rattler's name. I mean, the kid can play. I mean, yeah, things didn't work out in Oklahoma, but for him to take control of this South Carolina team and actually put their mark, I mean, this team can go far. Yeah, they're not starting out really hot, 1 and 2, but things can turn around. I mean, that's one thing that I think college football truly strives on is how fast and quickly things can turn around for your program.
Right.
And with that, I mean, the kid can throw. He can go. I mean, he can just move with his legs. I mean, he was a dual threat quarterback in 2019 for his class. I mean, he can play, but I mean, it starts with him, but it has to transition throughout the entire team. They all have to have that confidence of we can play football and we can go at it with the big dogs. I mean, shoot, they had Georgia on the ropes. Who knows? They
Yeah, I
probably can
mean, I
have.
mean, also, I mean, Spencer Rattler. Don't get me wrong, the kid can play,
Yeah, yeah,
But at the end of the day, because playmakers made plays. I mean, you have because you can't say that the defense didn't do their thing. The defense definitely did their thing,
right, right.
But I think it was a few miscues here and there, some poor judgment. You
Yeah, for
know, the line, of course, the line getting away from him, he getting sacked a couple times and this, that, and the third. But it's hard to, it's hard. It's they went that mean their first few games not been no doozies. They not been no sleeper games. I mean, they
yeah,
had what North Carolina and you know and they were hungry at that point. You know what
mhm,
I'm saying? And then you had Georgia. I
yeah,
mean, let's be real. I mean, that's the team that everybody wants to beat.
yeah.
But
It's
nobody
home
wants to
opener for
play.
both teams. Yeah, home opener. I
So
mean,
I
I'm sorry,
mean, so
conference.
he's
Yeah, conference
right,
opener.
right. So I mean,
Yeah,
I don't necessarily think that the team hasn't bought in. I don't necessarily think that, and I don't think that Spencer Rattler is bad. I just think that they were right there with North Carolina, and then with Georgia, it's like
yeah.
players make plays. I
Right,
mean,
right.
they
Yeah.
they weren't favored for this game,
Mhm.
and then the fact that you hold the reigning national champs to 24 points, that's saying a lot,
For sure.
And I mean, and you scored 2 touchdowns on the national champions that they hit what last year took them forever and a day to be scored on. I mean, and you scored twice on them. That's saying a lot right there. So I don't think. I mean, I think this game is a game for them to build on. Of course, they wanted the W. Who wouldn't want to be the team that takes down the champs?
For
I
sure.
don't think anybody would be upset outside of Georgia fans if
Yeah.
they were to go down or they'll take them down. But I don't think I think the team is bought in. I think everybody's playing within each other. But you also realize sometimes some games you're not supposed to win, but some games you just hey
Yeah, yeah,
you just wanted a little more than you ain't supposed to have it.
right,
One of
right,
those type of things.
for sure.
So I mean, you know,
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's turn the page here, and I mean, dude, we can. You know how we get. You know how we get. We'll sit on a team all day. We listen. We can go back and forth with it. But let's turn the page here and turn over to Carson Beck, 269, no touchdowns, no interceptions. But man, he was shaky. Like he was really shaky. I mean, it takes a lot. I mean, okay, first of all, this is his first year coming behind, coming playing from Stetson Bennett. You're playing under a new OC, Mike Bobo. Um, so like, it's kind of tough to get into the mind of Carson Beck. I mean, his post game, he spoke on it was rough, but a W is a W. It's
right.
but at the same time, man, you have okay, so you have UAB next week, but then you have Auburn the following week. I mean, hey, like I mean, listen, the man has some Georgia fans. Like, are we gonna make it through this season? So tell me,
Well,
tell me what you think about that.
I mean, with any fan base, Georgia, Auburn, Florida,
Yeah,
whatever, when you don't look like you normally do, you
mhm.
always gonna have those questions. Cause, if I'm not mistaken, Stetson Bennett had those problems
Mhm.
last year. And the first year they won it, they was like, oh well, we don't know if he's gonna be the guy. I don't know if we're gonna make it. Then he made it, won. Second year, it's like I don't know if we're gonna make it back. Then he makes
Yeah,
it back, win. So I mean, only thing with Carson with Beck, I think right now we just don't know, you
mhm.
know. But just like with Stetson, first we didn't know, we didn't know what to expect. I definitely some questions got answered for me on Saturday. Okay, the kid can run. I did not know that he can run like that.
Yeah,
He's not the fastest thing in the world. I'm not saying that by any stretch, but he can get it done with his legs. You don't have to be a Lamar Jackson or or any of those or Jalen Hurts with the speed and the running. You just need to get 5-6 yards to keep a drive alive. You know what I'm
right.
saying? Just making the right decisions. I think. Yeah, he looked shaky. He looked a little bit shaken. I mean, but we've seen quarterbacks be shaken by South Carolina just
Right,
because South Carolina is not a team that you want to sleep on because they will punch you in the mouth. They will.
right.
I
Mhm.
mean, years ago, South Carolina shocked Georgia and beat them. So for any quarterback or any team that plays South Carolina, South Carolina can get you shifted a little bit. But I think he held his own,
Mhm.
and it helps that you have a tight end like Brock Bowers, and then you have all these weapons at running back and these multiple weapons at receiver. It helps to have that, and then you have that big offensive line. So yeah, he was a little shaky, but playmakers make plays.
Right.
Quarterback's job get the ball to your players in space so they can do what they do.
Mhm.
That's bottom line. I don't care if you go for 500 yards or 200 yards, as long as your playmakers are making plays, you've done your job. And then you come out on top. So if you coming out on top, that's all that matters.
Yeah,
Yes, they didn't look like the Georgia that we're accustomed to, but
yeah.
that is insane. The Georgia we're accustomed to is not normal.
It's not.
That is
Yeah,
not
yeah,
normal.
yeah,
Just like when we were talking about those Bama teams, that's not normal. So you know what I'm saying. So let's dial it back a little bit. It's still early.
yeah.
All teams are trying to figure themselves out. So it's still early. Like I don't think anybody's really,
Mhm.
in my opinion, become very dominant yet.
Right.
Nobody's really like oh they're gonna win the championship.
Mhm.
So it's just
Yeah,
it's everybody's filling out themselves, so trying to
for
figure it
sure.
out.
And I
You know,
mean, too early to call. I mean, it's a lot of teams that could potentially be in the running as far as when we get closer to January for the CFP pollings and so forth and so on. But when you say the rushing and the receiving end of things, I mean, Dejon Edwards had a touchdown with a gain of yards, and and Brock Bowers even coming in a little bit. He had a yard, but Kendall Milton getting hurt. I mean, he might be sidelined for a few weeks. But then you have a walk on with Cash Jones scoring. I mean, this man, everything was everywhere. But the real thing that I really truly want to talk about is Georgia coming out in the second half. I don't know what is being said in that locker room, but I need an Apple or Spotify playlist of Kirby Smart's greatest halftime speeches, and I need that for my work week because man, it's like I don't know if it's Nick Saban or I know Kirby came under Nick, but man, those two with their halftime speeches, they have to be legendary. It's like those boys are seeing war out on that field, and
For sure,
they
for sure.
they come out, and I mean they are revitalized, and they just come out, and I mean they are getting after that ball. So like, what do you think is probably being vocalized for the kids to go back out there and just fight for that second half win?
Well, I mean, with any team, for one, coaches talking to each other like this is what we need to do
Yeah.
to adjust. Good coaches make adjustments. But as far as to the players and the players with the players, I think is we're better than this. Like,
Mhm.
we especially like for Georgia there, you know, I think what's being told to them, okay, yeah, for you upperclassmen, yeah, y'all won championships and
Mhm.
stuff like that. But that only a championship is as only good as the year that you won it.
Mhm.
So the next year, that means nothing. Everybody wants your head. When you're on top, everybody wants your head. Everybody wants to say, "I'm the team. We're the team that took down the big dogs." Just
Right.
like when like you said, you referenced Saban. Whenever teams beat Saban, it's like even if they don't have a shot at the championship, to them that is their championship.
Right.
Because Saban has been good for so long, and he's the top. He was the top dog for so long. That's like, all right, we've got that on our belt. We can do anything.
Mhm.
So just getting in the kids' heads and getting in the players' head to say, hey, yes, you're great. Yes, you're good, but they're also good, and they're also hungry. You're just content with the championship that you won, thinking that, oh, you just gonna skate by.
Mhm.
No, all these other players are hungry because they want to beat you. You
Yeah.
know, so I think just letting the players know, like, hey, I told you everybody was coming with everything they had,
Mhm.
and it is only going to get worse from here because it's SEC play.
Yeah.
So just cleaning those things up, cleaning mistakes up, cleaning coverages up, just different things like that. But I think above all else is we're better than this.
Yeah.
Play hungrier, play to your full potential, and stop overlooking these schools that you think you're supposed to beat by all this. But any given Saturday, this can happen.
Mhm.
And if you don't want it to happen, open your eyes, wake up, wipe the crust out your eyes, figure it out,
Yeah.
and let's ball together, clean up these mistakes, and fly to the ball. I mean, I think that was the biggest thing to me that probably was said in the locker room.
Mhm.
Just play like you're supposed to be playing. Like,
Yeah.
don't lollygag and think that you're just gonna walk over these teams. No,
Yeah.
you're gonna get your best from everybody. I don't
Mhm.
care if it's UAB, you know, Georgia Southern or
Yeah.
Savannah State, any of these schools that you're supposed to kill, they gonna give you their best shot because
Mhm.
they want to be the team that say they took out Georgia
Oh,
and
for
made
sure.
Georgia and knock that number one off of you. That's
Yeah.
that's that's his point blank period.
And it's
I
and
think
it's
it's as simple as that sometimes.
absolutely, and I think a lot of the shifting is going on within the AP polls already. I mean, you see your Bama's dropping. You see, I can't think of another school right now, but everything is climbing or dropping, and it's never ending. Your
Right.
your your week that you think you have a team's like you're a team's match could be the week that you just fall all the way off the rankings, and it shows. So when you say that, I feel like with team play, it has to be all 4 quarters.
Well,
You cannot take a drive off. I mean that drive that you're just off could be the team could be the drive that your opponent just comes in and says, all right, they're sleeping on us. So let's wake them up with a touchdown, and then
right,
another touchdown, and then next thing you know, you're in the locker room like we just lost. We're off the
right,
polls. That there goes our season, and I
right.
really like how we're transitioning into from the AP polls, with the CFP polls later on in the year. Now with us about to transition into the 18 polls, not only does it give more teams a fair chance, but it also kind of brings a lot more of excitement because you just never know who's going to make that top eight. And with that top eight, of course, you got that the 4 teams in this bracket, and then the 4 in the other bracket. It's almost like a it's almost like a clash in a sense.
Yeah, yeah. You just don't. You never know. It's more upsets, more
Hmm.
football, and it's giving other teams the ability to play.
Yeah,
Like for instance, you might see a Georgia matched up against a USC, which you don't ever see. You
yeah,
know, and whatever. So you get to see that matchup, and whether Georgia loses or USC wins or USC loses, whatever, you get to see that matchup and be able to say, "I watched them play each other," and
mm,
that was iconic because you got two high-powered schools going at it. A school known for defense, a school known
yeah,
for offense. So it's like it's magic. It's wonderful, and then you get the teams that like for instance, a pass like you have like your like when UCF was ranked, high, and they never got a chance to play for a national championship. Now
mm,
you get those teams that might be number 8, number 7, or whatever, and they still can put their best foot forward and say,
yeah,
"Hey, no, we didn't play the strength of schedule that you had, but we should be contending for a championship." Because I personally feel like if you run the table with your opponents and you're undefeated still, you still should get a shot. That's just my
yeah.
opinion. I,
Sure, one
I
hundred
don't
percent.
care. Like for me, I don't care about the strength of schedule, all of that. I don't care about that. If you've balled out for this entire season, you've beaten everybody, or even if you've lost one, to me, 1 or 2 losses should not identify you as not being a championship contender.
Yeah, yeah,
That especially when you only lose by a few points,
mm,
because this is college football.
yeah,
In sports in general, you got guys that are still 5 stars on the other side of the ball that are balling. Like
yeah,
you give that everybody's giving their best foot, especially with NIL and all of this type of stuff. They trying to get more money and they
yeah,
trying to get more position for what to go to the league, and they're trying to make a championship run themselves. So
absolutely.
I think wherever you are, if you so happen to get in that top 8, I think you should be able to at least compete. Whether you make it or not, I don't know, but I think you should be able to compete. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's more football, so I'm good either way.
Hey, and we will never turn down more football. Hey,
Right.
that's listen. No better words were said. So let's go over to the swamp, and Florida is facing a team that's just one out of the top 10. Tennessee, who's number 11. This game was it's hard to say. I mean, of course, it's a rival game, but man, I mean, ugh,
It was
ugh,
Florida did what Florida
Florida had to
used
do.
to do.
Yeah,
And what they used to do was run that thing down your throat,
yeah,
quarterback making plays,
mhm,
receivers making plays. Like they look like the SEC Florida that we wanted to see,
yeah,
and
yeah,
Tennessee looked like we still
yeah,
figuring some things out.
yeah,
That's what it felt like to me. Like quarterback play was a little shaky to me. Um, it's a lot of misplays, miscues, a lot of plays that shouldn't have happened.
mhm,
But Florida, credit to them, they capitalized on a lot of those plays.
mhm.
Etienne, had a huge game. I mean, the 1-2 punch
172
they
yards.
have, oh my gosh, oh my lord,
Man, he was on fire, and I don't even think this man had 23 carries. That's
yep.
That's a lot. Like, I don't think people realize if your running back is toting at least over like 15 carries a game, he is running through some childs.
Yeah, yeah. You mean
running
you
through,
getting 20
he
carries a
is running
game? I
through
mean,
children.
that means that something's working, and
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the
yeah.
fact that he to me he just didn't seem to be getting tired throughout the game.
No.
I thought he was to me I thought he was running stronger. You
Mm,
know, to me,
mm,
um, I mean he played very well. The quarterback play, although shaky, at the beginning earlier in the season, to
yeah.
me, I think he played a lot better. I
Starting to
think
get
Florida
comfortable.
may have found their identity. You know, I think that they found their formula.
Mm,
Now, we'll see what they do moving forward. But I think that they might have found that mojo. That a win like that, over a rival, and they ranked. That's a confidence booster.
yeah,
And now
yeah,
you know what works for your team and what doesn't. I mean, of course, some things you got to clean up. As always, but you know, I think they might have found their identity. I
yeah,
I,
for
I
sure.
truly do.
100%. And I mean, listen, it's always good to see those early rivalries in the season because it just shows you kind of what you could expect from that team, later on down the line in the season. Again, Trevor in 172 yards, one touchdown, and his longest was 62 yards.
Yep.
Hey, listen here. That I don't know what listen, I don't know what they told him before the game. I mean, he probably didn't even have to tell him anything. He probably knew what was already at stake when you're playing against
Sound
Tennessee.
like his brother gave a phone call, said, "Play that mug, man. Let's play like
Hey,
we supposed to play."
listen, and I
You
mean
know?
it worked. It worked to perfection. Listen, Tennessee is gonna be Tennessee. I mean, you're not gonna really sit here and try to, dog them out and do this because again, they still it's too early in the season to call. Tennessee still has a long schedule ahead of them. I mean, they still have to play Alabama. They still have to play, gosh, South Carolina. They still have to play all these schools
In
ahead
Georgia.
of them. And I mean, you don't want to just sit here and just dog a team out this early in the season. We're
Yeah, I
only
mean, I just think that it was just that
not
particular
night.
game.
Yeah,
They just didn't have it.
yeah,
But also, you got. I like having those games early and seeing those
yeah,
games early because
yeah,
you learn a lot about your team, about
yep,
what you need to do. When you face, excuse me, when you face adversity early, it pays off later down the line. So,
right,
when they're behind and they're, doing this thing, although they didn't win, they can say, okay, we've been down before.
yeah,
We knew what we messed up on this time. This time we're gonna do this. Okay, staying poised in the pocket for quarterback.
mm,
Okay, let's figure it out. What am I best at? What doing my check downs, doing my reads, and it's okay to throw the ball away. You don't have to throw it in coverage. You
yeah,
don't have to run it at that point. You just, you know what I'm saying? It's other things. I want quarterbacks to realize that they have options.
yeah, right,
Even if you are, scrambling for your life, you don't have to take a sack. You don't have to throw it in coverage. You don't have to throw it down the field. You can throw it away. You can, run out of bounds after you get your yards, whatever. But I think that part, I think the decision making has to be better. Because
yeah,
what's his name? Milton, I think his name.
yeah. Joe Milton the third,
Joe
yeah.
Milton. Yeah, I had a brain freeze for a
No, you
second. But
good.
yeah, yeah. So I think I just think he has a cannon for an arm. I think
yeah,
he has
yeah,
the talent. He has the talent. He has the size. I think he's a great quarterback. But I think that sometimes the decision making when you're trying to
yeah.
make a play can be a little shaky. I think that was his problem on that particular game. So
Absolutely. And I mean, again, coming up under Hendon Hooker, I mean, Hendon Hooker was a phenomenal quarterback last season. And, just, sitting behind him, there's no telling what he's possibly has learned from Hendon. There's no telling what Hendon has, just expressed to him, coming into this new season like, hey, play your game.
right,
It could be as simple as that. Just play your
right.
game. So, looking forward to seeing what Joe Milton has to offer, seeing what the Vols have to offer, later on in the season. And of course, Florida. Florida's going to be Florida. They're going to play their ball game and do what they have to do and handle business. And again, Tennessee was playing in a very hostile environment
It,
with them.
it ain't easy
I
to play in the
mean,
swamp. It ain't easy.
I'm telling you, you know, it ain't a lot of teams that come out alive in the swamp. So
Yeah, boy.
yeah.
Ooh, ooh. Hey, say you gator food, you gator meat. Well, ooh,
Gator
you come in
bait,
the
Gator
swamp,
meat,
boy,
all that, man.
man,
So
look,
yeah, it gets real out in the field.
yeah, it gets sticky in the swamp. It gets
Yeah,
sticky in the
it
swamp
does for
for
sure.
sure.
Yep. All right, listen. Pac-12 after dark. Okay, first of all, the entire country just stayed up for a Pac-12 after dark game. Okay,
Right,
hear me out. If you don't know what a Pac-12 after dark game is, this is where you have your West Coast teams, right? Like your USC, the mountain schools like Colorado, all this, that, and the third, like all these Western schools. They play around 7 o'clock their time, but it'll be like 10 on the East Coast.
right.
So this game didn't start till right after the Florida and Tennessee game was over, which was about what, 10:20, you would
Ten
say?
twenty. Yeah, it started at 10:20. Yep.
Okay, dude, this game literally brought like this game was probably better than most women's drama series. And I'm gonna take a lot of heat for that. But man, like this game was almost as good as Grey's Anatomy. I mean, bro, this game, I mean, the week leading up to the game, you had jaw jacking from both sides. I mean, Jay Norvell knew that that wasn't even called for. You're playing against a very you're playing against a team that feels like a lot of people have put a target on their backs.
Right,
I mean, it's you can't put first of all you can't put Deion Sanders in a position like that because
right,
once you have a angry Deion Sanders, this is a man who is going to take that bottle of lightning you just gave him and run all the way with it.
right,
I mean, this game pretty much put up implications that will never ever probably be sought in college football in this season alone, probably ever again. Just, I mean, this was a rivalry game, but it turned into so much more than that.
right, right.
I
You had a
mean, it was insane. It was
right, right,
insane.
right. You had different. You had artists coming there. You had Lil Wayne bringing them out. You
Yeah,
had The Rock on game day. You
yeah.
had Offset right there on the field.
Hmm.
You had Kyle Lowry and Chauncey Billups sitting in the press box and stuff like that. I mean, you had everybody there.
Yeah,
Big like I mean, I really feel like the coach from Colorado State knew what he was doing. He was like,
yeah.
"Hey, I'm getting my players hype. I'm bringing hype to the game." Because let's be honest, no, and it's not going to be a lot of people watching Colorado State as far as being televised like that. It's not going to be a lot of eyes on them, but it just might now.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
because they played so well against Colorado, and then they were able to live up to the hype. I mean, they
Hmm.
ran out of gas or whatever, but that's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, this game brought so much hype, so much energy from the tip. I mean, not from the tip, from the kickoff, the opening
Yeah.
kickoff. You know, I mean, they were fighting, they were scrapping.
Hmm.
I mean, it was all kind of, you know, going back and forth, talking junk to each other. I mean, it felt like a rivalry. I honestly felt like we was in the South at a Auburn Georgia game or Auburn Alabama game or
Man,
Georgia Florida. I mean, I really thought that it was that atmosphere, that type of atmosphere. But
I'm not even
I
gonna lie to you. It felt way different from a SEC game, man. I felt like I was at a Pop Warner game, and the parents were about to start fighting any second. Like, I, bro, I was scared watching from home. I was scared from my own living room because you just did not know what could have popped off at any second.
Right,
I
right,
mean, that's how intense the game felt. I
right.
mean,
From kickoff, from
from the
kickoff,
opening kick, it just felt like a tense atmosphere in that air in Colorado, in Boulder.
and
And
that's
and
how
and
rivalry is supposed to feel.
and
It's supposed to
exactly.
feel.
But man, this just did not feel like a normal rivalry. And I
Right.
mean, bro, you can ask anyone. I guarantee you, no one, and I mean no one, has ever sat, unless they are a true Colorado or Colorado State devoted fan, nobody has sat through an entire Colorado and Colorado State rivalry game. No shot. No chance you
At
could
least,
convince me.
at least on the East Coast, I know
It, no,
nobody.
no one on the East Coast has probably sat through an entire Colorado State game. The prime effect.
The prime effect.
The prime effect made this game a must
Let's
watch.
talk about bump the rivalry. Let's talk about the fact that we're watching Colorado, and everything that they do,
Mm.
and because we watch the Colorado, now we watch the Colorado State. So let's
Yeah,
not like the Dion effect is making us watch teams that we've. I mean, I know me personally, I've never really watched Colorado ever.
yeah,
I have
yeah,
never had an interest in watching them until this point. So
yeah,
it's like now it's like okay, now I have to tune in because now
yeah.
they're balling. Like I mean, a
Right.
team that had one win last week. I mean
Hmm.
last year. Now already has three wins, and a win over a top 25 opponent.
Yeah.
So and they're ranked. So I mean, but back into the game. I mean, like I said, from the opening kickoff, it was fighting, and then
Hmm.
it was a little bit of a illegal hitting going on with Travis Hunter
We'll yeah
getting
we'll
hurt.
we'll get into that. We'll get into that a
You
little
know,
bit later. But yeah, that right there.
yeah, that was a game to me was a game changer
Hmm.
to me for both teams.
Hmm.
I didn't like the hit. I did not like the hit at all. But to me, it sent a message from Colorado State that hey, we here, we ain't playing with y'all. And then on the other side, Colorado got the message of we coming,
Right.
we
Yeah.
coming, because
Yeah.
now you done made it more personal than it already
Mhm.
was.
For sure.
Now you done injured one of our brothers purposefully, so now we're coming. So
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think that play turned it for both sides. I mean, um, like Colorado State started getting their groove. They started figuring
Mm.
out, what Colorado wanted to run. Kamara, phenomenal game.
Hmm.
I mean, I think he jumped up a lot of people's draft boards off this game alone.
Yeah.
But I think Colorado State's defense did very well managing the superstars of Colorado. I think they did very well being disciplined after they got all the little penalties and
Yeah. For
jitters
sure.
out and the fighting and things like that, the jaw drop, all of that. I
Yeah.
think settled down, got poised. I think the defense settled down and got right. I think
Yeah.
you
And
know.
and it back to that. The penalty which we're referring to, which was Henry Blackburn, a defensive back for Colorado State. It was a late hit on Travis Hunter, who's pretty much a stud for Colorado's offense and defense. He plays both sides of the ball. Was hit out of bounds. What, maybe like in the second quarter.
Hmm.
The crazy thing about Travis Hunter is the man came back into the game hurt, hurt.
Well, yeah. It took him a while. It definitely
Yeah,
took him a while to get
for
back, but he
sure.
did come
Yeah,
back. He did.
yeah.
He did attempt to come back, but I could
Mhm.
definitely see that he wasn't himself.
Right. He
You
wasn't
know,
playing to his normal speed.
right. He
Yeah.
wasn't. He wasn't himself. So I
Hmm.
think Dion made the call. Say, hey, get this kid out of here. Go and take him to the hospital.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and I think as a coach, that is a major call because I know a lot of
Mhm.
coaches be like, "Oh, he can play through it." If he says he okay, he okay. No, we're gonna save you from
Right.
yourself, and that's
Yeah.
that's I respect that. Say
Right.
no, no. We trust our backup.
Mhm.
We gonna get you out of here. We gonna get you seen about it. It's a long season, and not even just the season. Is big.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's bigger than football. You want this kid to be
exactly,
able to play
exactly.
at the next level because I don't know I don't know the extent of his injury. I'm not
Yeah,
sure. I haven't seen it come out yet, but
right.
to
Well,
me it looked like a rib or some type
yeah,
of
yeah. So yeah, reports came out today. It's a liver laceration. He's going to be out for 3 weeks. But it's good that they did take precautions in order to go ahead and get him out the game
right
because
because that could have been
who
so much worse.
knows?
Right,
Right,
could have been
the
so
injury
much
could have
worse.
been way worse than what it already is. So prayers for Travis Hunter. Speedy recovery. And I mean, we listen. If we know the Travis Hunter that we think, this man is going to come back in 3 weeks with a vengeance.
Right, 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 right,
He's coming back for I hate to promote it, but he's coming back for blood.
right.
Point blank period. So it's going to be very exciting to see him coming back in 3 weeks. Get well. Do what you need to do in your rehab and recovery, and come back better than ever. Because this man is going to. We think he's taking off now. He's about to go to some crazy heights now for
For
sure.
sure, for sure.
So yeah. But yeah, man, dude, Shiloh Sanders
Pick
getting
six,
getting the
pick
pick six.
six.
And I mean, man, we had a great moment between him and his dad. I mean, hugging and talking to his dad on the sideline right after that pick. And I mean, this Colorado team was down right before they went into OT.
Right, right.
And not even OT, double.
Yeah, they
Double
they were they
overtime.
were they were struggling.
Yeah.
In the beginning,
Hmm.
which is you trying to figure out a team. Sometimes you might be down. Like
Yeah.
I was saying the whole time. I said what I've learned about this Colorado team. Don't matter what it looked like in the first half.
Yeah.
They could be down 100 first half.
Hmm.
Second half, they're gonna clean all that stuff up. They're gonna
Right.
figure out what they're doing, what sets they need to run, who needs to get in space, whatever it is, they're gonna figure out. Okay, the run's not working. Second half, we're gonna try to hit this or
Mm.
whatever. They're gonna figure it out second half. And
Yeah.
boy, did they ever! You know, Horn had some drop passes
Yeah.
and things like that. But oh my gosh, did he ever make up for it?
Oh
You
my.
know,
Oh my,
on a
buddy.
big play, and not to mention on the guy that made the illegal penalty, he shook him out of his boots for the touchdown. You know,
Listen,
I might catch some backlash for it, but I'm ready for it. I got my boots
hey,
on.
but you're not wrong. I
You
mean,
know,
listen, karma comes around,
this is
buddy. And I
it.
mean, the man was on the ground. He was touching some earth.
Yeah,
He was touching some earth.
he picked up dirt. He
Yeah,
picked up
yeah,
dirt. I mean,
yeah.
and it's a beautiful thing, as it says. The thing about with football, why we love this game so much. You can get me, but I gotta come right back, and I can
For
get you
sure.
too. So
Yeah.
you know, you gotta back it up. Whatever it is you do, you gotta back it up, regardless.
100%. Yeah.
For all 4 quarters, and in this case, 6 quarters.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Unsung hero from this game, Michael Harrison. I mean, 2 touchdowns. I think I want to say one right before going into OT, and then one actually in either the first or the second one. I'm not sure, but
he caught the. I know he caught the final one, and then
yeah,
they went for two.
yeah. So okay, so second overtime, but I know he caught one in regulation. But man, what a way to be clutch in a moment like that. I
Nobody,
mean,
all the stars, nobody
yeah.
else is looking at you,
Hmm.
but you find a way to get open.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a big guy. So I
Yeah.
mean,
I mean, yeah.
so
Yeah.
you trust your teammates. So as a team, you already know what your teammates can do,
Hmm.
regardless of if the world knows. Because we talk about all the stars they got, with Horn, and they
Yeah.
got, Shiloh, they got Shador, they got Hunter, they got all these different players. Some of these players fall through the cracks, but that doesn't mean they're not as good or they're not talented. It's just
Hmm.
we haven't got to them yet. So this was his coming out game. We got
Yeah.
the two biggest passes of the game, caught the two
Hmm.
biggest throws of the game. He couldn't even believe it.
Yeah.
Based off his celebration in his face, he was like, "Oh wow, I'm really."
Right. Right.
So I mean, it stay the course. I think Colorado stayed the course and they figured some things out.
Yeah.
Got the ball to players in space, you
Hmm.
know. And on the
Yeah.
other side of the ball, Colorado State, oh my lord,
Bro,
freshman quarterback, oh my goodness, that Joker.
Braden Fowler Nicholson is, I mean, goodness gracious, 367 yards, 3 touchdowns. I mean, man, 34 for 47 on passing. I listen. Let's not take away from this Colorado State team. They have
Right,
some ballers as well.
right,
Yeah, the focus was really on Colorado State that night, but listen, Colorado State came in this game like, hey, we got something to lose here too. I mean, yeah, our coach made these comments, but listen, we're gonna back up our coach. Like
right,
whatever he says,
right,
listen, right or wrong, we're sticking behind our coach. And I mean, they came out and played again 6 quarters of football the way it needed to be played. And yeah, they fell in the end, but man, to lose by 8 points, come
to
on, man,
to
in a in Folsom Field where literally they couldn't even fill the stands last season.
right,
And I mean, you have all these celebrities and stars on your sidelines. I can guarantee you, it was hard to stay focused on that sideline.
right,
They had Kawhi Leonard, who can't even show up to his own games, on the sideline. Like, bro, this game was everything it needed to be.
right.
And I'm looking forward to the next year's Colorado versus Colorado State game. Honestly, like I'm
For
really
sure.
looking forward to it.
For sure. I think they've started. I think they reinvented the rivalry a
Yeah.
little bit because now it's like, okay, Dion's here,
Hmm.
and Colorado's winning. Colorado State got something to prove now,
Yeah.
you know, and that game was theirs to lose at
Hmm.
toward the end. I mean, it seemed like everything was working
Yeah.
for Colorado State. I mean, they were getting all the calls they wanted, and they were getting everything.
Hmm.
Crossing routes was wide open. I mean, they was getting some of the shots down the field. I mean, everything
Yeah.
worked. They chipped away at it, and everything worked. But then Colorado started to wake up.
Hmm.
One thing about it, if you got a giant on the ropes, you better go ahead and go for the KO. Because if not,
Yeah. Yeah.
eventually they gonna wake up. You
Uh-huh.
know. So yeah, I'm anxious to see what they do in
Yeah.
years to come. Actually, I'm actually looking forward to see what Colorado State does the rest of the season because
For
I
sure.
I think they built a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
Even though they
Yeah.
lost, I think they gained a lot of confidence.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
if they didn't, they should have because that was to me was a stellar performance
Hmm.
from the receiving core. All the receivers balled out.
Yeah.
Quarterback play. I mean, everybody did their thing, and I'm gonna keep saying his name, Kamara. Oh my gosh, he was a gosh darn soda machine. I mean, he
Yeah.
was coming in there, man. He was a
Yeah.
sack machine. He was
Muhammad, and I mean, and Muhammad Kamara. I mean, listen, he gets ejected from the game
at a critical time on a
at a
critical
critical
play.
time. Like, man, and don't get me wrong. Like, one thing about our platform and our podcast, we're never gonna play, victim blaming or the race card, because that's not what this podcast platform is about. But to see that, it was just kind of, it was a weird element in the game, to see what happened earlier with
Right,
Trav, and then to see that, because in my definition of targeting, both define targeting. Both
right,
instances define targeting.
right,
And so for the referees to kind of turn a blind eye to Travis's hit, it was kind of like a weird, like, okay, let's, like, are we all watching the same game here,
right,
So I think, maybe later on in the week, we'll probably start seeing something coming from Colorado State's conference, like, hey, I think we're just going to go ahead and suspend them for a half or a game, if anything. Even though the refs didn't do anything about it, the conference that Colorado State plays in can still come back and say, hey, we think we just want to move forward this way, because also reports came out today that Henry Blackburn's family are now receiving death threats and phone calls. Like, his phone number was leaked after the game. His parents' home address was leaked after the game. His mom's phone number was leaked after the game. Me personally, I never want the game to get out of the field. It happened. It was unfortunate, but let's leave what happens on the field. It
Right,
should never resort to someone's parents being harassed and having their information leaked, because at the end of the day, it's a game. You know what I'm saying? Again, it's unfortunate it happened, but it's a game at the end of the day. More instances of this are more than likely going to happen within the season. So
right,
like, let's try to keep what happens on the field, because at the end of the day, these people have families just like me and you do.
right.
They're trying to provide just like you are, just like me, all of that. So again, unfortunate, hate it happened, but let's try to be better people. Be kind to one another. So yeah. So that's as far as I'm going to get with that. I'm not going to go in depth, more with that. I hate it happened. Speedy recovery for Trav. Hope to see him back out there, bro. Let's get into this closing, man. You got anything you want to tell the people before we head out?
No, I mean, I'm excited to be here. Excited the
Yeah.
football season is started. It's in full effect. We've already had some upsets. We've already
Mm-hmm.
had some, some close games. We already had
Yeah.
some fireworks, some
Uh huh.
rivalries. I mean, we've had a little bit of everything. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm loving it. I'm here for it. I mean, I'm actually anxious to see next week.
Bro,
What
week
happens. I
five.
mean, week
Oh,
five, we
week
got a
five got
lot
some
of big games coming.
games, buddy.
A lot
We
of big
listen.
games.
We thought week four was a treat, buddy. They're going to be in for something this weekend. I mean, we have a lot of ranked opponent matchups. You know what game I'm really looking forward to seeing?
What was that?
Ohio State and Notre Dame, buddy. That is going to be
It's gonna
a
be. It's gonna be.
game.
It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah,
I definitely
yeah,
want to see what Notre Dame's quarterback. I want to see how he does against
yeah. Sam
solid.
Hartman.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Sam
Sam
Hartman. I
Hartman
want
is
to
a
see.
stud. I like Sam Hartman.
He's a beast.
Yeah,
I like him.
yeah,
I
yeah.
just want to see what he does
Mhm,
against Ohio State, because Notre Dame, they can be great in the regular
mhm,
season, but once they play certain teams, it's like, all right, now where
mhm.
was this team at before? So I mean,
Yeah,
I'm anxious to see what he does. I'm anxious to see what he does.
for sure, for sure. Well, hey, I think this is a perfect way to go ahead and close this thing out. Listen, this has been another great, phenomenal episode of the College Couch. We thank each and every one of you guys for listening. Continue to support us, show love. If you ever have any questions, concerns, comments, let us know. Like, we want to make this thing the best we can make it. Continue to follow our platforms. We're on Instagram, Twitter, or X, as y'all call it. It's Twitter to me. We're on YouTube as well. All at the College Couch Pod. Not but College Couch Pod. Listen, please comment below or comment, DM us, whatever you want to see. I cannot stress this enough, because this is for you guys. If you don't tell us, we can't cover it. And again, we want to cover as many conferences and so forth as possible. Like, you let
Yeah,
us know what game you want for us to talk about. We will hit it. Like, we will talk about it. And I mean, we will give as much analysis and comments as we as we can on that. I'm losing track here. Like, I'm
yeah,
struggling. But listen, we cannot thank you guys enough, because without y'all, we can't make it possible. So thank y'all from the bottom of our hearts. Listen, Jay, buddy, it's looking like nightfall over there behind you.
yeah. It's getting pretty dark, man. We don't usually run this
We
late,
gotta
but
get
I'm
some
here
lights
for
on
it.
over there. I was like, wait, hold up, did he leave me?
No, I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. You know what I'm saying? I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah.
But yeah, just comment. Share, like, tell us
Mhm.
what you want to see, what games you want to see, who you want us to cover. Y'all want us to go see the HBCU side,
Yeah.
or you want us to see to cover whatever you want it is.
Hmm.
Wanted to
Yeah.
cover. We all about college sports, whatever sport it is. I don't. You could be talking about badminton. We can figure out about some badminton.
Yeah.
Hey, we want to cover everybody.
Mhm.
Doing their thing, college sports. I'm here for it. I love it. We appreciate y'all for the feedback. We're gonna continue to give y'all great, confident, beautiful, con- content.
Yeah.
But I'm
Listen, I
tongue
hope
tied
we can
today.
give the
I don't know.
confidence.
I don't know.
Listen.
But yeah. But we here.
Yeah,
We can't wait to see y'all next week. See what y'all
yes,
talking about and see
absolutely.
what games and things like that y'all want us to cover, man.
For sure. Well, again, this has been another phenomenal episode of the College Couch. Again, ladies and gentlemen, be kind to one another, spread positivity, love, all that. And hey, we'll see y'all next week. Peace out.
Wake up, I gotta go get it. Wake up, I gotta.